right?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, good job.
Radu is laughing at me for saying yes so many times, but I don't want you to say things and to be silenced, you know?
No,
It
it
would be
definitely
awkward.
helps, right?
So,
Because I
so
like,
I have to approve you in some
yeah,
way.
if I don't get feedback, it's harder. So yeah, I
Yeah, yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Cool. So let's see. Okay, so let me give you a short rundown of what we see in this file, right? Because right now maybe it's not very clear, right? So when we're looking at a Purescript file, you always have a like a line that starts with module and then a name and then where, right? This is just how you start a I think in Java it's package or something, maybe. I'm not even sure because I've not done Java in a very long time. Right, so this is always the first line when we see, like before it, you could only have comments. By the way, comments are like this. So this is a comment, and this, well, this is a multi-line comment. And then you close them like this, right? So these are kind of like in C, you have like this is the instead of this, right? And I even forget what's the multi-line comment in C. Is it this or I don't even remember?
I don't
Whatever.
know.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, and then you always have to have a capital number of name for the modules, right? So you can't have like like this, right? It's an error. Okay.
Like that when I installed the Spago.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then you usually have a list of imports, which are kind of like includes or like dependencies, right? Modules. I think in C# it's using, right? When you add some namespaces. Okay, and like you get this thing, and then you can write you write your code below, right? So you can have as many things as you want at the top level is what we call, right? So like that's clear, hopefully, right? What top level means, right? Like in the like leftmost space thing here. And then in one of the modules, or even in more, but right now in the main module, you have this thing called main, right? Which is the main function. It gets called, and when we do spago run here, that's what gets evaluated and executed, right? Main. And then main has two lines. This is the like type definition or type declaration for main, and this is the implementation for it, right? You don't really have to worry right now about what an effect unit is, but basically an effect unit tells you that, hey, this is something that it's kind of closer to the imperative way where you do this, do that, and then do that, right? And you see here that it's kind of like log this, log that, log that. So this, like, you can think of most of functions or programs that you've written right now, they were probably written as effects something, right? Yeah. If you are thinking in functional terms, right, where you give a like a list of things to do in order.
Yeah.
Right, and then we're just logging things, right? We can for now, but we could even do other things. But yeah, we'll do that later. Right, and then this $sign is basically the same thing as adding parentheses. So it's kind of like this. Right, we'll look at exactly how it works later and understand it. Maybe we could even do it now, but this is basically the same thing, right? So it's just an easier way of doing that. Right, you don't need parentheses, you can just do this. And even like, for example, what is add? Well, add is evaluated like this, right? Because we learned for lambda calculus that we just pass the first parameter and then the second, right?
Yeah.
So we could write it like this, right? And it will still work and it will do the same thing, right? It's still 3 and 3 here. Let me scroll just so you don't have to trust my word for it. But then since we know the parentheses are kind of like $signs, we could just do this as well and it also works. Wait, it doesn't work? Oh, because okay, well, it would work like, is it the order? Yeah, I guess it, yeah, it's because log show, right? So this expects a single input, I think. But anyway, nobody writes code like this, right? There's no point to adding these $signs here, so go away. Okay, so it's usually something like this. Okay, cool. So what can we do now? I guess we could write a few more functions. Let's see if there's any functions here that we can also write in Purescript. We could try translating this to Purescript, but I think that's a bit complicated. So maybe we just write some functions which are somewhat interesting that we've probably skipped through with lambda calculus just in the interest of time. Well, actually, right. There's one. Okay, no, I want to show you something else. Okay, so let's add types here. So basically, the type of add could be this, right? Because we're adding things, and what does this mean? Well, it means that I'm taking an int, and then I'm taking an int, and then I'm returning an int. Okay. We'll talk about this a lot more later, but for now we'll just do a simple. We'll just kind of learn by example, and then when we talk about types next time, I'll give you a lot more explanation about what this means. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so what do you think happens? Do I want to talk about types now? I think so. Okay. So what do you think happens if we say something like add and one? Because, for example, we know the type of add is this, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think the type would be for add and one without anything else?
Okay, so it either takes 1 2 times and then it gives us 2, or it gives us 1. I think.
So no, the way this works is it basically. No, I was just. So the reason I'm asking this is I want you to. I think it's good if you try to give an answer, even if it's wrong. When you understand why it's wrong, you learn better than if you don't try it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only. I'm not trying to show you. You're wrong. No, right. I'm definitely not trying to do something like that. So, okay. So let's see. What happens when you do add 1? Well, it kind of takes this x and replaces it with 1, right?
Yeah.
But then what? So then let's try add, and let's name it add prime, right? So it would be something like this. Oh, sorry, 1 plus y, right? When you do this.
Yeah.
Correct, because that's what we've learned from lambda calculus.
Yeah.
But then the type for this, do you think it would be if you look at this and this in comparison? So this kind of axis is this, and this is y, and this is the result, right?
Yeah, But in my humble opinion, I think it gives 1 to y. Give the value of 1 to y. Does it keep going?
Nope, it's just another function, right? So it's basically like whenever you apply an argument to a function with multiple arguments, it just returns. So you can basically read of this kind of like this, right? So add is a function, right? Okay. That to give me an integer, like an x, I will give you a function that adds x to whatever you give me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically, let's think about this. So we could. Hello, Monad Plus. Well, thank you so much for following. I'll be making maybe you can make a short break in a few minutes, and I'll answer chat questions if there's any. But I'm kind of in the middle of explaining something right now. So we could also write add prime, kind of like this, add and then 1, right, instead of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically, using add, we can write functions and just rename it to add 1, right? So basically, from now on, the function add 1 accepts only one parameter, like only one y, and then adds 1 to it, right? But we could even write the function add 5, which is equal to add 5, right? And then this function add 5 will add 5 to whatever I do to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's kind of you can think of add as a generator for a lot of functions, right? Where if you give it the first argument, it will generate you a function that adds that number to whatever its input is. right? So you're kind of like creating functions by passing arguments, right?
Yeah.
If that sort of makes, and it's the same here, right? If we pass an x, then it's something that adds two numbers together with a z, right? So for example, we could rewrite add to saying add 3 with 0. Sorry, right? Does that make sense still?
Now it doesn't. Wait, can you can you show me again? Okay, so we write the add.
Because we're saying add 3 numbers, but the first one is 0.
Okay.
So we're left with two numbers to add, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it does make sense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just comment this so we keep it here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what if I wanted to replace to use add 3 here instead of add 1? So I want to write add 1 in terms of add 3. What do I add here? What do I type?
Where's the add 1? Add 1 is this one. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what does it mean? We wanted to take one more number and add 1 to it, right?
Yeah. So it takes one number and it adds 1.
So how do we use add 3 to implement add 1? And okay, the names are atrocious here. Let me try to rename things. So add. Let's call it like this. Right, and then add 1 adds literally 1, the number 1, right? Whereas add 3 numbers is a function that adds 3 numbers together.
Yeah. So there's this, but I also want to add 1 to the 3 numbers, right? So it's...
So remember, if we want to add 2 numbers, what did we do here? We use 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what if we want to add just one number to 1?
I mean, this is where I kind of lag out. I space out, I guess. Is it like 1?
So if we do add 3 numbers 1, then we give x the value 1, right? Yeah. Here, but we still need 2 numbers to do a result, whereas here we just want 1 number to get the result.
Mm-hmm. So to add 3 numbers.
So okay, let's go back for a second. So is it clear to you what add 1 needs to do?
Yeah, add 1 needs to add 1 to the number that I'm already giving it.
Okay, cool. So I'm giving you a function that can add 3 numbers.
Yeah, so it adds 3 numbers, but I also want to add 1 to the sum of the 3 numbers, right? So this is where I get the x plus y plus z, and I need plus 1, right? This is, this is not the code. This is the result that I want.
Like look at this, right? So this is what add 3 numbers does. So add 3 numbers expects 3 parameters, right?
Yeah. So basically, I just get 7 instead of 6, like what we wrote on the README file. But I seriously don't understand.
Okay, let me try to solve this for you, and then I'll give you.
I think I understand, but
let me solve this for you, and then we can.
Okay.
So okay, the way I think about this is like this. Okay, so this needs 3 parameters, right?
Yeah.
And then returns one of them.
Returns an integer. Yeah.
This just needs 1 parameter and returns 1, right? So maybe we could write it like this. So I didn't show you this yet. Okay, I'll show you after. Okay, so if I give it, so basically in order for this to become an int to int, I need it to pass 2 parameters to it.
Yeah.
Because look at this, like in order for it to become, let me remove the parentheses here just to make it clear, right? So if I want to go from 4 in total to 3 in total, I apply 1 here, right? So if I want to go from 4 to 2, I need to apply 2 things, right?
Yeah.
So in order to what are the things I need to apply? Well, first of all, I know I need to add 1, right?
Yeah.
But then what do I apply for the other? Well, 0, right? Because if I do anything else, then I'll get more than plus 1.
Okay.
Right? And you can do this in either order. The order doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
So then then that means x is 0 and then y is 1. So this means that it's 0 plus 1 plus whatever z is here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, now it does.
Okay, cool.
So I thought it's mainly because I thought you only want like one character here as an answer. So
you assumed it's just...
I did say one at the beginning, but then I was expecting I didn't know how to write like x plus y plus z, but now it makes sense. Okay, I understand now.
Okay. Cool.